20th century, 21st century colliding. You know, the notion of using whiteout on the computer screen is probably not a good idea, right?
Doesn't work well.
Doesn't work well. So let's launch into the positive reinforcement, the next key. We really believe that our part of our mandate is to catch kids being good. And that seems like an easy and almost trite phrase to say. And yet when I talk with educators, I often hear, yeah, I get it, but you know, I haven't got the time in my class to really stop and acknowledge all of the good stuff. And I'll say, okay, I buy that. I don't think anyone in the education environment has all kinds of extra time. But here's the challenging piece for me. When there is the negative behavior, the world stops. And we engage in noticing the negative behavior. Even if that negative behavior is the lowest percentage of occurring. So for example, 25 kids file into a class, one kid is not prepared, that's where our attention is drawn to. One kid didn't do their homework, that's where our attention is drawn to. One or two kids are talking out, that's where our attention is drawn to. And what we're suggesting is, when that becomes the emphasis, by the way, that detracts from the time you have, and sometimes becomes such a production that it's not just a, hey, Chris, please get back on task. Now it's an invitation to Chris. And Chris may decide, hey, I can push Tom's buttons today. I get that Tom's a little on edge already. How about I? And now we engage in this escalation. And that escalation takes a whole bunch of time, may result in me having to remove Chris from the class, may result in now losing the class. Because my adrenaline is rushing through, the kids are all amped up now. Somebody else is saying, hey, that took Chris 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I think I can go under 2 minutes and get the teacher to lose it. And now the game is on. So we want to make sure we spend at least as much time catching kids being good, that we have timely and specific feedback that is aimed towards improving the learning. So we don't just let it slide. Because I know as a parent, the most annoying thing was to get a message saying, this is the 5th time this has occurred. I want to know at the earliest possible time and intervene at a level that is so simple, the answer is so simple. We want to talk about this whole notion of rewards because we hear the great debate. We can't continue to indulge kids. We can't continue to just give the tokens. And I'm not suggesting, neither is Chris, neither are we suggesting in the book, that that's the only way. We are suggesting that we are trying to modify and change behavior, and depending on the severity of the behavior we're trying to change, there may need to be some ways to have the initial breakthrough.